welcome to another video, A Walk with Phil, and I'm in West Bromwich. I'm here on the Albury Road, and I'm here because I want to have a look at a factory that I used to work for back in the late 70s and 80s called JB&Lee's. There's talk at the moment that some of it's going to start getting demolished, so I wanted to come and have a look to see what progress they're making. So with that in mind, let's go and have a look. It's bitterly cold this morning, it really is. Just down here would have been the railway station, the Albion railway station. That's Union Road ahead. And when it was closed in around in the 60s. And what I'm looking at now is Albury Road, of course, rich green area up there, and the district of Albion just ahead. Just show you, just around about here, there was a pub there, built around 1860s and closed in the 1930s. But it was called the Vulcan, and it served mainly the Vulcan Tube Works. That was all around at the rear over there, and the Vulcan Works were also over the back. The railway is still there at the top, but no longer has a station, and beyond the railway is a canal, the Birmingham Canal, and there is a bridge crossing there. The Furnace Bridge crosses the canal just at the end of Union Road. Not sure how you access it these days. There's an access road that would have taken you to parts of the Vulcan Works down there. Further on, over the back, was coal mining and the Nelson Iron Works. The Nelson Iron Works was purchased by JB&Lee's back in the early 1900s. Much of Albury Road was lined with terraced houses, mainly from round about 1880s, but much sooner in some areas, and no exception along here. All along here was terraced properties. Round about there, near this tree here, there used to be a pub, and it was called the Railway, and it had been there since 1851. It closed in December 1966. Very popular pub along these parts. And if I just show you here now, where there was all houses all along here as well, terrace properties. Now you can see we've got a City Metals recycling company here, and all these huge buildings here. This one's recently been built. Not too sure what they actually do at this plant. There's a very old building just here, Performance Fasteners building. I look at it and it looks like it was something to do with the railway. It's a long building, quite narrow. It's quite prominent, and it certainly looks like an 1850s, 1860s building. There's lots of factories at the back of these we can see here. A lot of this is fairly new stuff. When I say fairly new, 50s, 60s. Performance Fasteners. It's a natty little reception area, look. Little cabin. A couple of fancy chairs there outside the shutter door. They like to sit in luxury here on their lunch break. Now, what was interesting about this particular spot, and I wouldn't remember this at all, but from the railway, which is the railway lines beyond these large buildings. There was a level crossing here. Now I don't know about it. I was never aware of it. But you know, 3 railway lines used to cross this road. This road here. If I can see if I can picture it, but you got one of the lines would cross here, and we'd go through here where all these lorries are parked in this yard here. If I put my camera through the metal railings, because that's all we've got everywhere, is just metal railings. There's a depot building just ahead, look, see, with the red shutter doors. That's an original building right from the mid to late 1800s. It was a goods depot for the railway, and it's obviously got some modern cladding on it now. But one of the lines would go to the left of it, and 2 of the lines would go to the right. And from those lines there'd be other lines branching from it. The one on the left would take materials to and from the Vulcan works and other factories dotted over the back. And the one on the right would have branches from it, and that would take the railway lines up through towards JB&S Lees. But no, don't ever remember the railway lines here. There's the navigation way. This is a newly created road based on the fact that there was lots of canals around here, and still is actually. There's that original goods depot that's still there. Just here on the right where we got the TST group of buildings, that used to be the railway ironworks. Here we are, we've reached JB&S Lees. And let's have a look. There's a lot of work going on now. There's a lot of cutting back been going on because of all these foliage all around here and trees. Where you can see the outlines there used to be all buildings around here at one time. I think they've been demolished a while back. That building there ahead used to be known as the Black Warehouse, where raw coils of steel would be stored, all stocked in there, ready to be used. And now here it was interesting because just where all this pathway is here, up to that building which didn't exist back in the turn of the century, this used to be a canal. This was the Union Branch Canal that would link with the Balls Hill branch at the rear of the factory ahead, and it would come up to around here where all these metals are, and across here where I'm pointing now, going along here, would be a railway, and the railway would be I'll show you where the railway would have gone inside the factory. It's all pointing cameras through railings. It would be nice to be able to get in. There was a building there. It's a very, very old building. Again, it's one of those buildings, could very well have been an original from the 1850s, 1860s. The company began in 1852. But you can see there has been some demolition of something, because you've got piles of bricks here. The railway would be coming from this direction and along here. And just show you where all these mound of soil is. That's where the railway would go, run along there, past that building there, and from that line, when the line passed that factory building, it would branch off into two or three other lines, and there was around 5 railway lines running in there at one time. I've never known gate number 6 ever used, but gate number 6 was completely obscured by trees and such like. It was a jungle behind there. But such an old factory, it's a sad it finally closed. But you can see we've got a bit of a better view here of the area where there was rolling mills ahead. Just here, this building is the clocking office where you would clock in when you started your shift, and it was the gatehouse, we called it. Where sometimes delivery vehicles would enter. But you can see again, this was one of the original buildings from the times when the factory was created. I mentioned this on a previous video I did on Albury Road, but there was the canteen up there. There's the gate to go into when you clocked in. Looks like that used to be a door there, but there was like storage in this one with toilets. But it hasn't been used for many a year. As you can see, there's piles of rubble placed in front of these gates because they've had gypsies quite recently. And here is gate number 5. All drivers and visitors must first report to the gatehouse. Some big pipes of some sort, yeah. I don't know where they've come from. Just beyond, we can't get to the gates to actually see beyond, but there'd be a railway. The railway would be beyond these gates. There's 2 lines, and they both would be entering the factory units over there. Back in the turn of the century, to bring and take goods, coal, metal, to and from the factory. And it was right up till the late 50s there was still a railway line in the grounds of the company, but it didn't connect to the main line any longer. It was just left there for a time before it got removed, before it was removed. The company stayed in the hands of the Leeses until 1960. Just here is the Birmingham Canal, which goes under the Albion Bridge, which we'll be crossing in a moment. Over there is Nichols Steel. Still lots of industries around here. After 1960 it was just JB&S Lees in name only, because it was taken over by Harper Electronics. Not long after, Cope Allman, I think it was a 64, 65, and then Tyco bought out Cope Allman, and then I think it became Caparo for a time before it became Liberty Steels, and Liberty Steels now are the last owners of the company to be responsible for the closure of this very old business that has dominated West Bromwich industrial life for over 150 years or so. There's the Birmingham Canal. We have towpaths on either side. You get lots of people fishing down here. I don't expect you to see salmon in here. You can see the distance there is just there's a walk bridge crossing the canal. There was also another canal branch that would come off this canal to join up with the gasworks that was just beyond this wall here. Now of course we had the Swan Village gasworks, but there was another gasworks here. I don't really know what they did, but here there was a gas storage holder. It had 3 in the early 1900s, but it went down to 2. I'm not sure when the gasworks here was finally dismantled, but you had 2 large gas holders on this site. It's got the canal cycleway. It takes you to Wolverhampton and Tipton and Birmingham and Smethwick. There's the continuation of the Birmingham Canal just under the Albion Bridge. Again, I just want to show you that if you can see just there to the left where the towpath rises, you can see there's a branch off there. That's the Balls Hill Canal branch. When you're driving around these roads around here, it's surprising how many cameras. You don't normally notice them unless you're looking for them. I mean, see this lamppost here? See this post here? It's got 2 cameras up there, look. Watching you. So we look over here, as I said earlier, this is where the bimetal department was, where they had where they would weld expensive narrow strips of metal to a less expensive toughened piece of metal for bandsaws. They started doing that in the 1970s, which proved very popular. It was called Trident Steel, and that's where we got the Trident Steel Works this side. Now we show you the Balls Hill branch of the canal. There you can see the bridge connecting the 2 sides of this factory, this huge factory. The Britannia side, look, the walk bridge covered, and it would connect here with the Trident side on the right. And yeah, you can see another bridge there, look. And that was the entrance. Just beyond this factory unit here, that was where the JB&S Lees was served by the canal, the barge. They had another, where that branch came in through what I mentioned was the black warehouse, which wasn't there at the time, of course. So in its time, this company has been served by the canals and the railways. This bridge is called the Isons Bridge, after the famous Holloway iron makers who made saucepans and pans of all sorts. Not far from here. You can see how far the company goes, look, all the way up to the top of Albion Road. And it's going to be sad to see this office block go, if it ever does. It dominates this particular part of the road, look. And you've still got the original Trident Strip Mills signage above the main reception doors there. Anyway, we'll leave it at that, and we'll come back another time to see what more progress they're making with the demolition, if you like, of this factory. Okay, then there's the end of our little walk around the small area of Albion Road and Albion Road, and you can see there's a little bit of work going on now with JB&S Lees. There's been a lot of ground clearance and a bit of demolition I can see taking place. But what is interesting as well was those level crossings. I just can't imagine there ever being level crossings there at one time, but it's amazing how many railway lines that was round here and canal branches and such like. It's all gone now, hasn't it? Anyway, we'll leave it at that, and if you like the video, hit the like button and also hit subscribe and hit the notification bell for new videos, and I'll see you on the next one.